For me, it's about the law and people. I just need facts, okay?
Yeah, okay.
Just facts. And how people can resolve their problems and just be better for it.
Justice with passion.
I always knew I was going to go into law because I tried to see everybody's point of view in an argument. And I encouraged people to talk to each other to try to resolve their problems.
Justice with truth.
Do not waste your time and do not waste mine.
This is Justice for All with Judge Cristina Perez. Jimmy Stonechild is suing Cassidy Emma Turner in the amount of $2,627. Mr. Stonechild claims his vegan dessert shop was doing great business, but says that all changed after Ms. Turner wrote a scathing, biased review.
Okay, Mr. Stonechild, you are suing the defendant, Ms. Turner, for $2,627.
That's correct.
Because you claim you had some losses, damages in your businesses due to a defamatory post?
Yes, she performed a very unfair, inaccurate, and untrue review of my little dessert shop on her website, causing my business to lose money in the last 2 months.
All right, and then Ms. Turner, you are a food critic. What are you?
Yes, so I am a food blogger. I own a food blog, and I travel around the U.S. and I go to different restaurants.
And how old are you?
I am 23.
Okay, and what kind of training do you have to be a food blogger?
So I don't have any training, but I work very, very hard at my job. I went in high school, I was always in the writing programs, so I very much try to make my
So you're a good writer?
Yes.
You like to use adjectives and be creative and use different, okay.
Yes.
So what makes you an expert in what you do? And what type of restaurant or food are you better at critiquing?
I would say that I am not an expert, and that's why people love to read my blogs, because they're not biased. They're not from someone who is, has studied this, knows how to cook. They're just from another person. They're from a young girl who, likes to look at new restaurants and see if they're going to be the next big thing, and whether they should go there and bring their family and friends there and have a good time.
Well, so I guess that's what I'm getting at. What type of influence do you have?
So I have over 200,000 followers, and again, like I go to new places, and I go to any place. I go to food trucks.
Okay.
I go to stalls. I go to amazing, beautiful restaurants.
Okay. All right. So then, what happened, Mr. Stonechild?
Well, she came to my place and bought some desserts, and I was happy, and then didn't have much to say, didn't comment, didn't want to talk too much, which is fine. I noticed on her sweatshirt was the word foodophilia. So I looked it up out of curiosity, and it was her blog. But she has a blog,
what was the word on your shirt?
Popular blog.
Foodophilia. It's the name of my blog.
Okay.
Foodophilia.
All right. Did you ask her? Did you let him know you were a food critic, or you're I don't know if I want to call you food critic, but that's what you like to do on your blog? Did you tell him that?
So I did not. I like to get honest reactions from people and natural experiences that I can tell my followers.
Was he
about.
very nice when you walked in?
He was nice, yes. He was, he had good customer service. However, as soon as I started picking out food of the pastries, he started just basically ranting at me about veganism and how meat is destroying the planet, and anyone who eats it is like a bad person. And it's not that I'm against that, but I don't want to be lectured at. When I am paying the money, I don't want to be lectured at.
Okay, so did you tell him thank you for your opinion, but I'm here to buy desserts?
I didn't.
Why don't you just walk out?
Because I have, because this was a new place in this little town, and I was in the town for a week.
You didn't have to write a food critique on it. You could have just walked out. If he was annoying you, why don't you just walk out?
Because him annoying me is part of what I want to write about. The service is part of it. That's very important.
So because he was annoying, you wanted to write about it. So it's not really about the food.
It's about all of it. It's about the entire experience.
Has anybody thought you were annoying?
I mean, I guess everyone's been annoying in their life, but generally I don't get that. Generally, people really value our interactions.
Okay. All right. So then what happened? She bought the desserts.
Well, I looked at the website out of curiosity, and I found that she had a very nice food blog. It was very professionally looking webpage, and a lot of followers, and so I was pleased. But then I found out that she had immediately written a negative review in my name of my business. The name of my business is called Vegan Sweets, and she called it Dirty Sweets.
Dirty Sweets. Why dirty?
And this is what she. It's a graphic. It looks a little too professionally done. That's what makes me see. And this is her short review of my business.
So she only did the short review, and that's it.
It's a little bit.
She only did the
it's quite
short
negative.
review.
Coming up on Justice for All.
So what am I eating? This is a chocolate one.
That's the chocolate one, yes, and it has vegan cheese.
That's pretty darn good. You want to try?
And later.
And within the 3 weeks, you noticed that there were things you didn't like about it?
Immediately, she started complaining about our son.
If you'll be in the Los Angeles area and want to bring your case to court, call 1-888-552-6878. You're watching Justice for All with Judge Cristina Perez. We're back with the case of Jimmy Stonechild, who is suing Cassidy Emma Turner for defamation.
I thought you were a good writer.
I believe I'm a good writer, but writing is subjective, and so is food. So
I thought you liked to use really good words and adjectives and.
I mean, I think those evoke the correct image.
You didn't like the vegan desserts?
I did not, no.
Why?
Because I think, pastries should be sweet and delicate and delicious and creamy, and his food was none of that. It tasted like sand. I don't think I've written this bad a review for anybody else in my entire 4 years.
So the desserts from Vegan Sweets, Vegan Dirty Sweets review. The desserts from Vegan Sweets were so awful it tasted like burnt grass and sand-covered seaweed. Anyone who eats this would want to vomit, will not be back.
Yes.
Foodophilian, Cassidy Emma Turner. Okay, all right. And
Your
then
Honor,
what
that's,
happened? So she posted this,
yes.
Mr. Stonechild. What else happened?
Your Honor, she may have felt that way about the dessert, but that's a trend in culinary dessert making. There's a little bit of sweetness and a little bit of sourness, a little bit of saltiness you might taste, and it's all
But
about.
this is one person's opinion about your desserts,
yes,
right?
and also it's all about that richness in the flavors that you.
Okay, but so then you're saying because she
Yes.
posted this blog or this opinion, this very short paragraph.
Yes, it seemed
2
to have
lines,
effect. It seemed to have a big
It
effect.
affected you because why?
I made money in the first many months of opening this little shop, and then after she left, I lost money those 2 months.
All right. Anything else, Mr. Stonechild?
Well, this just shows a little bit of numbers about what
I
I
have
did
the
lose.
invoice, yeah,
If
I have the invoice.
If that just shows my loss for the last 2 months. This is a review that was written by another person that gave me 5 stars.
That's fine. Cinder.
And these are from her website here, and you might want to see these. This is why I feel that she's getting help from the dairy and the meat industry, because her graphics are very nicely made by a graphics person. And that one says, veganism is a cult. The other one says...
it's just not, you just don't write reviews. You just don't like vegans, right? I mean, veganism is the most dangerous cult, so it's not just reviews. So you just think veganism is bad, right?
In my experience,
Vegan food, my dog wouldn't eat this.
everyone's entitled to their opinion.
Yeah, everybody's entitled to their opinion, but it seems like you, for some reason, don't like vegan restaurants. All right. Anything else, Mr. Stonechild? Any other evidence? Anything else?
Yes, I would like to give you, I have some tarts here for you to try, and you can
Okay.
decide for yourself if you might like to try them. Here they are. One is a chocolate, vanilla is there.
I just don't understand, if you don't like
raspberry
vegan food, if you don't like vegan food,
And
why
lemon.
would you go to a vegan restaurant to critique it? If I don't eat meat, why would I go to the best steakhouse in the city to critique it if I don't eat meat? It just makes no sense.
Because
how believable is that?
I believe that my opinion is valid, and I believe that I have a right to say what I want, and that's how this world works. We all have our opinions.
Unfortunately, that's how it works.
I don't think so. I think fortunately. I think everyone has a valid, beautiful, amazing opinion.
You are actually, what you're doing, and you don't understand, what you're doing is you're actually playing with somebody's livelihood.
He's playing with my livelihood. This is my
How?
livelihood.
How?
This is how I make money, is my food blog.
Well, how do you think he makes money? Did he post anything about you? Did he go out and say that you're a horrible food critic and that you're rude and insensitive and a little entitled? Did he say that to anybody in the whole world?
No, but he's suing me for a lot of money. That means a lot to me.
So what am I eating? This is a chocolate one.
That's the chocolate one, yes, and it has
That's pretty good.
vegan cheese.
It looks good.
Agave.
That's pretty darn good. You want to try?
Organic cocoa beans.
That's delicious.
Freshly ground, freshly made.
Do I have time to try them
Everything
all?
is organic and
Really?
natural and wholesome.
Wow, it's really good.
And
what's the one with the black raspberry?
Yes, that's the black raspberry.
No, which is this
That
one?
one has the
coconut?
The
Oh my
coconut,
God.
yeah, the coconut. Yes.
Save me some.
Obviously, this is my opinion that these are delicious. I mean, outrageously delicious. That chocolate one is insane. Getting back to the claim, Mr. Stonechild, in order to prove damages from a defamation of character, because that's what you're saying, she defamed your restaurant, she defamed your dessert, she defamed your work. The problem with food blogs or food reviews is that everybody has a right to their opinion, right? Unless they are full of malice or they are derogatory or degrading. Her blog was not very nice. It was a little cruel. It was a little unkind, but unfortunately, it's protected under something that is called an opinion. So based on the evidence, I find no defamation of character, and based on the food blog that she wrote about your dessert place, be very proud because they are very delicious. Do you mail these?
I can.
Okay,
Yes.
good. Now we know that's our next Christmas present for the court. Okay, thank you very much.
All rise.
Judge Perez has ruled in favor of the defendant. The plaintiff's claim has been denied.
I would like to say that I think the judge was correct, and I could have been more open and nice.
I feel that Ms. Turner is supported by someone in the meat and dairy industry to put down veganism.
Coming up on Justice for All.
So then what happened to Max while he was at daycare?
Well, because Sally brought contraband of magnetic marbles, and she stuffed them in her clothing, and my son had no idea. I mean, he's 5 years old. He doesn't know what that is.
You're watching Justice for All with Judge Cristina Perez. Greg and Melissa Parker are suing Reagan Riker in the amount of $850. The Parkers claim their son swallowed a magnetic marble at Ms. Riker's daycare and says it's because no one was watching him.
Okay, Mr. and Mrs. Parker, you are suing Ms. Riker for $850 medical bills that your son incurred because of an accident that happened at daycare.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes,
why
we
don't
are.
you explain what happened, please?
Your Honor, we are working professionals. We work very long hours. When the summer came along, we had to place our child into some kind of daycare.
How old is your son at this time?
My son is 5.
Okay, so he's 5 years old. How long was your child in her daycare?
For over 3 weeks.
3 weeks. And within the 3 weeks, you noticed that there were things you didn't like about it?
Immediately, she started complaining about our son. I know my son. I know what he's like. He's like any other 5-year-old. He's creative. He's energetic. He is curious, just like any other child. So I don't know why she would always blame everything on him when there's other childs. There's a child named Sally that he would always talk to us about and complain about, saying, Mommy, he did this, she did this.
Well, I guess what I'm getting at is that you were comfortable enough to leave him there for 3 weeks. There was no warning signs. Then why the $850? Tell me what happened then.
The $850 covers the $350 medical bill, which includes x-rays and the ER, the initial ER fee. And then there's a $500 additional fee for the extra fees we had to pay for childcare on top of what she charges, which is $1,000 per child every month.
Coming up.
Because Sally brought contraband of magnetic marbles, she brings this in, and before you know it, they're playing with marbles. So my son swallowed one.
You're watching Justice for All with Judge Cristina Perez. We're back with the case of Greg and Melissa Parker, who are suing Reagan Riker for $850.
Do you have any evidence?
Yes, I do. I have an invoice right here.
So $350 is for the medical expenses?
You can give me everything. Thank you.
And $500 is for the extra child care?
Yes.
All right, so then what happened to Max while he was at daycare?
Well, because Sally brought contraband of magnetic marbles, and she stuffed them in her clothing. And my son had no idea. I mean, he's 5 years old. He doesn't know what that is.
Yeah.
And so she brings this in, and before you know it, they're playing with marbles. So my son swallowed one. He swallowed one, and she wasn't watching him properly. He wasn't being cared for properly.
All right, so then did you tell, so you realized Max swallowed the thing. Did you call 911 right away?
I called his parents immediately. I called his mother, and there was no opportunity to leave a message. I wanted to get a hold of a parent
So you got
right
hold
away.
of who?
I got a hold of his dad.
Okay.
And his dad responded and came and picked him up. Max
And how was Max? He was fine?
Max, initially, when he came up to me, he
Do you
was...
know what he swallowed?
From what he said, ball. He described
A
it as
ball?
ball. He didn't really, he wasn't describing it as magnets. He just said, I ate a ball. And I wasn't sure what he was referring to, and then I started to try to figure out, was
Was she allowed to call 911?
I don't see why she couldn't
Well,
have.
my first is to assess the situation. Max was able to talk.
Judge Perez's verdict when Justice for All returns.
Okay, so did you ask Ms. Riker to reimburse you for the medical expenses?
I did. She's not,
Why
according
do
to
you
her, it's my
believe that
son's
you're
fault.
not responsible for the medical expenses?
I did everything humanly possible to ensure the safety and to be alert and to respond to a situation that, hindsight is 20/20. When you look back and say, well, you could have noticed this, you should have noticed this. Well, being in a room with 4 children, and some who are more creative at
Well, listen, I understand that you can't supervise a child all the time. I get that. But at the same time, you have a duty to make sure these kids are safe.
Absolutely.
Because it's very clear you had a duty and you failed in that duty. So based on the evidence, I will grant the defendants $350 for the medical expenses that directly came from the defendant's failure to make sure your child was okay. All right?
you. Thank
so
you, Your Honor.
that's it.
Thank
Good
you.
luck.
All rise.
Judge Perez has ruled in favor of the co-plaintiffs. The defendant has been ordered to pay $350.
I think the judgment was true and correct, and what you did was wrong.
I'm just happy Max is safe, and I hope that he can thrive somewhere else.
This has been a production of Entertainment Studios.